From the studios of Books in Motion, this is Damon Abdallah reading Never the Crime by Colin Conway and Frank Zafiro. Now, let's begin. Men in general judge more from appearances than from reality. All men have eyes, but few have the gift of penetration. Niccolo Machiavelli, political philosopher. Tuesday. Justice delayed is justice denied. William Gladstone, former Prime Minister of Great Britain. Chapter 1. Spokane police officer Gary Stone pulled into an emergency vehicles-only stall outside City Hall. From where he parked, he could see a gathering near the front entrance of the building. He checked his Apple Watch. It was barely 8 a.m. That could only mean one thing: a press briefing. He climbed out of his unmarked patrol car and stood behind the open driver's door. After glancing around to ensure that no one was watching, he tucked his shirt in, his hands moving expertly around his belt, being careful not to jam his fingers against the badge and gun on his left hip. He then straightened the knot on his tie and smoothed the length of its tail. He took off his sunglasses and tossed them onto the dashboard. He leaned back into the car and grabbed his personal cell phone. For a moment, he thought about bringing his department-issued cell phone, too, but decided against it. He hated carrying both, so he forwarded his department number and emails to his personal one. Usually, the only time he carried the department phone was around the brass. The chief and captains wanted to see him with the appropriate equipment. Besides, the department-issued one was a BlackBerry, and who carried those anymore? Stone then grabbed his portable radio, slammed the car door, and stepped to the sidewalk. The early morning sun was up, and the air felt crisp. Spring was Stone's favorite season, as it always filled him with hope. He approached City Hall slowly, his eyes scanning the small crowd of journalists and protesters as they stood in the morning shade. A couple of security guards positioned themselves nearby, but no uniformed officers were present. That meant the briefing was unscheduled, and they didn't expect any hostility. Stone knew why the press was gathered. He'd read the morning newspaper. He would have expected at least one uniformed officer to be present, and would have made that recommendation if asked. City Councilman Justin Buckner stood behind a lectern. At 39 years old, he was in his second term representing the 3rd District. Recently divorced, he had 2 children, ages 4 and 2. Normally genial, Buckner's face was twisted with barely disguised anger. "What I did was not wrong," he said. His hands tightly gripped the edges of the lectern. "Can you confirm the girl was 18 years old?" Kelly Davis yelled. She was a reporter for the Spokesman Review and a regular at City Hall briefings. Buckner's jaw tightened. "She's 19. A murmur went through the crowd. "I'm a man, she's a woman?" Buckner's finger tapped the lectern, emphasizing each point. "That's all that matters." One reporter hollered above the crowd's rumbling, "You're 20 years older than her!" "What does age have to do with this?" Buckner said, throwing his hands in the air. "She's an adult, so am I for that matter. This reeks of ageism." Someone yelled, "She was the babysitter!" Stone studied the faces of the crowd. No one present appeared to be supportive of Buckner. No way for the councilman to win this argument. Even if what he'd done was legally okay, it seemed wrong. Politically, Buckner should have known better. He'd been around long enough to understand how it would play in the public eye. Stone watched Buckner for another moment. He looked like a man juggling water and doing a bad job of it. Shaking his head, Stone moved past the crowd, nodded at the 2 security guards, and walked into the building. As he stood near the elevator, an elderly woman approached. She had a knitted shawl wrapped around her shoulders and a sun hat on. "Excuse me," she said. "Yes?" "Where do I find the Parks and Recreation Department?" Stone smiled politely. "I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't know. You'll have to ask the security desk." He pointed to a booth where a guard sat. "Oh, I thought you worked here." "No, ma'am, I'm a police officer." "You don't look like one," she said with a kindly smile. "You're dressed so nicely." Stone's smile remained. "Thank you. The security guard should be able to help you." The elevator dinged, and Stone stepped in. He turned to watch the woman walk away. As the doors slid shut, he shook his head. It frustrated him that people confused him with City Hall security. The doors opened on the recently renovated 7th floor where the mayor's office was now located. The new carpet smell still hung in the air. As he stepped out of the elevator, Charlene Mapes, the mayor's latest assistant, made eye contact with him. She sat behind a monstrosity of a central hub. Anyone stepping off the elevator would not get past her without a greeting of some sort, even a silent one. "Gary," she said flatly before turning her attention back to her computer. Charlene was in her mid-40s and slightly heavy. Her short brown hair was tucked behind her ears. "New haircut?" Stone asked. Charlene's eyes shifted back to him suspiciously. "Why?" "I was going to say it looked nice." "Okay," she said, her voice flat. Again, her attention returned to her computer. Stone waited for her to glance his way, hoping for a smile or at least some recognition for the compliment. When she didn't look up, Stone took it in stride. His goal was to make friends with everyone in City Hall. Charlene had yet to smile at him, but he would not give up. As he walked away from the receptionist's desk, Stone noticed Mayor Andrew Sykes talking in hushed tones with Councilwoman Margaret Patterson. The two of them leaned close together. When the mayor noticed Stone, he flashed a grin and raised his hand in a perfunctory wave. Stone nodded in response, but continued toward his office. "Gary!" the mayor called. He stopped then and turned. Sykes ambled over. "Hey, when you have some time, let's get together. I'd like to bounce some ideas off you, maybe catch up on how things are going in your world." "Sure," Stone said. "Sounds great, Mr. Mayor." Sykes patted his arm. "I'll have Charlene set it up." He turned and hurried back to where the councilwoman was waiting. She studied Stone with intense interest. He nodded once toward her and then headed to the mail stop where both internal and external correspondence was delivered each day. There were several items waiting for him, including an inter-office envelope. His small office at the far end of the floor had a mahogany desk, a laptop, and a filing cabinet. No pictures hung on the walls. "I should decorate this soon." He'd been in this assignment for almost a year, and the 7th floor remodel had only been finished for about 60 days. Everyone else on the floor had made their offices presentable, like little homes away from home, so Stone was now looking like the odd man out. Soon. Prior to the move, he'd worked out of a cubicle near Charlene's old desk. There was never an opportunity to decorate that.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?